Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is June 15, 2023, and we are getting into the volume 117 of me answering your immigration related questions. As you can see, I have all your comments pulled up in front of me. As always, before beginning this video, I'm going to mention, as I mention in every video, I am not an immigration attorney. This is not a legal advice. All the information provided in these videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USCIS, and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. So let's start with the very first question, comment from Dorsa7369. F4 visa with priority date of December 26, 2007. Rest of the world. I don't have a documentarily qualified date yet, but I have uploaded all documents and forms on CAAC and waiting for them to be approved. Roughly how many more years do I have to wait for an interview? Dorsa, thank you very much for your question. So let's take a look at the visa bulletin. We know it's F4, forced preference category, brothers and sisters of US citizens. So let's see what we got. So we're gonna take a look first at the graph A to see how long the full length of the waiting period is of the backlog for the availability of the immigrant visa. So it looks like F4 as of right now, as of June 15, 2023, looks like people with priority dates back in 22nd April 2007 are getting the availability, getting their immigrant visa. So April 2007 and you are December 2007. Okay, so you are December 2007 and they are in April 2007. So that's roughly, well, let's see, April, that is a month number 4, December is number 12. So 8 months, roughly 8 months from the availability of the immigrant visa. But let's take a look at the graph B and let's see, it's March 2008. Okay, so they roughly opened up around March 2008 and then you started doing in as of June 2015. You know, I wonder if you want, you can come back to this channel and let me know when you have submitted these documents, when the portal opened up and when you have submitted all of these documents for documentary qualification. Usually the whole process of becoming documentarily qualified takes about roughly 3 months if everything is good. If once you submit everything and there is no problems, there is no extra documents that they need, the sponsor is good, 3 months they review it, that's it, you're documentarily qualified. If there is some kind of problems, and you know, I'm saying problems, not really like a problem, but it's just they need something else. Maybe they need a translation for some kind of document. Maybe they determine that the sponsor is not enough and you need a joint sponsor. Add another 3 to 4 months on top of the process. So depending on how long you're gonna be, becoming documentarily qualified, roughly another 8 months for the availability of the immigrant visa. But I think by the time you're documentarily qualified and by the time everything is good to go, you will have about, roughly 6 months to wait for the availability of the immigrant visa, then another 6 months to wait for them to schedule an interview, because you have to keep in mind the administrative processing once you're documentarily qualified, because they have to transfer the case to the US Embassy, and then the US Embassy, depending on where it is and how busy they are, they, usually take about 4 to 6 months to schedule the interview and send you the interview notice. So you are probably looking at another year total for the whole process of everything. That is if there is no problems with becoming documentarily qualified. But all in all, you're almost there. You've been waiting for a very, very long time, since 2007, almost there. Okay, let's move on to the next question from American Dream SD. Hi, my friend's dad has a visa. Okay, so he's got a visa, family based, so I'm assuming immigrant visa, and his visa will be expiring on 7/7. Okay, so 7th of July. There's a civil war in the country where his dad lives right now. It's been 2 months since the war started. The problem is he couldn't get his passport. Wow, because he was forced to leave his house. In this situation, what he can do? I don't think he'll get his passport soon, thank you. Ah, man, that is a tough question. That is a tough question because it's a really, really tough situation. So, here's a few things to keep in mind, right? If he escaped the place where he was, where the situation is dangerous, where there's a civil war. In the new place where he is now, is there a US Embassy around? Because here's a few things that you need to keep in mind, right? In order to travel internationally, meaning that in order to come to the United States, you do have to have a passport. All right, that's a requirement for the international travel. Now, getting the proof that he has an immigrant visa might not be such a huge deal, because he might be able to reach out to the US Embassy in the country where he is right now, in the place where he is right, just finding the nearest US Embassy. Obviously, it might be a little bit harder to do it in a different country because he doesn't have a passport. But reaching out to the US Embassy and maybe them issuing some kind of letter, some kind of statement, or maybe some kind of temporary piece of paper showing that he does indeed has an immigrant visa, because the immigrant visa is not just that stamp that they put in the passport. It is also the record in the Department of State, in the National Visa Center, showing up as being valid, as actually having the visa number. So just because you lost the physical, evidence of having that visa, it doesn't mean the visa is gone. The issue here can be the passport itself, because you do have to have that visa in the passport, and you do need to have the passport in order to travel internationally. So here we are looking at a few potential scenarios. Can he retrieve his old passport? I mean, if he can, that would be the best. It would be ideal, because he would have his passport and he would have his visa. Can he get a temporary authorization to travel without his actual passport? Can he get a new passport? Can he apply for the governing authority that issues passports in the country where he is right now? Or maybe if he already escaped the country and he's in a different country without passport because he didn't travel through the air travel, but another way where he didn't have to use a passport in order to air travel, because that's what most of the times the passport you show. Can he go to the embassy of that country in a new country and try to get at least some kind of temporary authorization, some kind of travel document which he can travel with? Because if he can get the travel document, then he can reach out to the US Embassy, explain the situation, and probably get the same way some kind of statement showing that he indeed has that immigrant visa. So these are, I would say, two things that you need to keep in mind. Is the passport, you need to figure that out. That would be the local governing authorities, the authorities of that country that issued the initial passport. And then number two is reaching out to the US Embassy and talking with them and see how they can help and what they can do, because I mean this is a serious situation. It's really a force majeure situation, so it's not like it's his fault that he lost a passport or something like this. It's really a serious situation. So if you can, please come back and to this channel and I'm sure the people that are watching these videos, they would be interested to hear an update on what is going on with this situation, and if you were able, if your friend's dad was able to resolve that. Okay, let's move on to the next comment question from Simone Williams. Simone, thank you for another comment. I really appreciate it. This icon here means one of the top commenters, Simone. So Simone says, hey, hope you're doing great. It's been a while since I sent a message, but now I see the visa bulletin had moved to September 1st, 2017. Yes, and my priority date is June 26, 2017. Okay, so it moved June 26, 2017, and it's moved to September 2017, which means that yours is already current and past the current one. But even now, I have not received any notification to pay fee or submit any documents. Can you tell me what to do, please? And thanks. So Simone, I'm assuming you haven't been documentarily qualified yet, if I'm remembering correctly, and I'm pretty sure September 1st, 2017 is on the graph B, F1. Yes, here it is. Okay, so you're past that already, and the NVC portal is still closed. So what you definitely need to do is you need to submit, I don't remember if you have submit any public inquiries yet, but you definitely want to submit a public inquiry in this situation and let them know. Say, hey guys, I was already approved by USCIS. My case was already transferred to the NVC. I have the case number, I have the invoice number, but when I log in, the portal is still closed. According to July, according to the July 2023 Visa Bulletin, it should already be current and I should have the full access to the portal. as of, so June. So let's see, July, August, 2 months already, past 2 months. So please let me know what's going on. So I'm gonna copy this link right here. And for everyone who's watching, this is how you find the public inquiry form for the Department of State. That is, once your case is approved by USCIS and is with NVC, if you need to reach out to them with any kind of questions, this is how you do it. This is where you do it. So we're gonna click. You can find this link in the description of this video for the visa bulletin. We're gonna click on the contact us right here. I'm gonna actually open a new tab and then wait till it loads. All right, we'll scroll down a little bit to US Visas contacts right here, and then scroll down a little bit more, and at the very you will see this table right here, the very top of the table, very first row, you will see email public inquiry form. We're going to click on this, scroll down a little bit more, and you will see online immigrant visa inquiries only public inquiry form. Click on this and you will have your public inquiry form in front of you. So you'll have to fill out your NVC case number, which you definitely have. If your case was already approved by USCIS, then you definitely received the email from NVC with the case number and the invoice number. Put the case number here. Principal applicant's full name, that would be beneficiary's full name, date of birth of the beneficiary, petitioner's full name, who you are, beneficiary or the petitioner, email address, and then your inquiry below. Like I explained, just briefly introduce yourself once again. I mean, they will be able to pull up the case right away with the case number. But briefly introduce yourself and then explain your inquiry. Explain that, you know, according to the visa bulletin, I should already have the full access to the portal, but it's still not open. Okay, so let me put this right here, link. And I see that you commented on 2 videos, so I'm gonna put this on both. Reply. And right here as well. And Simone, please come back and let us know once you hear back from them what their response is going to be. Because, I mean, you know, if they respond with something generic like, oh, we're still processing your case, we already know that this is not true, because, well, there's really nothing else to process, because USCIS approved it. Now it's just for NVC to open it up for, you know, to become documentarily qualified. There is nothing to process until you actually start the documentary qualification process. So I don't think they should respond with anything like this. But if they do, please come back, let me know, and we will look at a few other potential avenues that we can take in order to, you know, try to resolve this further and see what's going on. Alrighty, let's move on to the next question from rbeam2733. Is it a red flag for my case if my principal address and my mailing address are different? Thank you. Great question, rbeam. Thank you for asking. No, absolutely not. It's definitely not a red flag at all. There are a few situations where it might cause additional questions, like, for example, in some family reunification cases where you're petitioning for your spouse, and even then, it might even be beneficiary to have mailing address, you know, your main permanent residence, right, and then the physical address showing the address where you are actually, you know, living with your spouse in a foreign country, right? That's you know, that shows right there the reality, the case being genuine, you know, and kind of, so in some situations it might actually even make it better. So no, not at all, no red flags. Just make sure, you know, your mailing address is where you're actually getting mail, and then the physical address is where you actually are physically residing. So let me put this, and we're gonna move on to the next question from Rihanna Singh 9135. Hi sir, I'm a high school teacher in a foreign country. I came here on a B1, B2 visa. Is there a chance that I can get a teacher's license in New York? Rihanna, great question. So not with B1, B2 visa for sure, because that visa is a tourist, is a visitor visa. So it does not give you the permission to legally work in the United States. You definitely can get a teacher's license in New York. I'm not sure how it works, because that's like a whole different, you know, that's has to do with the employment. I'm sure there is a way for you to get a teacher's license in New York. Let me just say this. But before you start that process, you actually need to have a status, a visa that allows you to legally work in the United States. So what you probably want to look into is you probably want to look into someone, meaning the employer, who is willing to employ you as a teacher, all right, and then petition for you to have your status changed from the status that does not allow you to work in the United States to the status or visa that allows you to work in the United States, and then from then on figure out how to get that license in order to teach in New York. So that's probably would be your number one priority: finding an employer that is willing to sponsor you as whether non-immigrant or immigrant employee, it really doesn't matter, but a foreign employee, basically, someone who has a right to work in the United States of America. So let me put this, and we're gonna move on to the next question from, let's see, Gilm. And sorry, I'm having trouble with your names now even more, because as you can see, YouTube changed something and now I'm seeing the handles instead of the actual names. So from Gilm 1LG9688, my name is, there you go, Gilbert Nielsen Mwaura Gitonda from Kenya. Gilbert, thank you for putting in your name. I really appreciate it. My documents were approved in the portal on November 5th last year, but to date I have been waiting for visa interview. Well, Gilbert, congratulations on being approved. That's a huge milestone. Once you're documentarily qualified, that is a huge milestone, because that's it. You are done literally with everything. The only things that are left is medical examination and then the interview, and then during the interview they really ask for the same exact documents for the most part, and very generic questions that most of you will be able to answer without any problems. So that's a huge step. So you were approved on November, you were documentarily qualified on November 5th. So we are right now in June 15th. So let's see. So that is November, December, January, February, March, April, May, and we are in June. So a little bit over 8 months now that you have been waiting, which is normal. Believe it or not, I know it's a long time, but it is definitely normal. Now there are two situations, and I want to ask definitely for a follow-up comment from you, because if you have, if you are in immediate relative category, right, it means that your visa is already available, your immigrant visa. In fact, it was already available once you were approved by USCIS, okay, even before you were documentarily qualified. So now you're literally just waiting for the interview to be scheduled. So everything really depends on US Embassy in the country where you will be going through the interview and how busy they are. And in most cases, it takes about 6 months. In my case, that I was doing personally for my parents, it took 9 months for them to get their interview scheduled, because the embassy was a little bit busier, I guess during that time of year. I don't know. But here's the thing. If you're not in immediate relative category, but you are in one of the family preference categories that are waiting for the availability of an immigrant visa, there is also a chance that your immigrant visa might not be available yet. So please, in the follow-up comment, and for everyone who's watching this video, please, I repeat it all the time, but just to be on the safe side, if you have a follow-up comment, please don't respond to my comment within your comment, because YouTube does not send me the notification for those comments. I don't know why. Please submit it as a separate comment in any of the videos. It doesn't really matter, whichever video, and I will see it on this wall. So Gilbert, let me know your family preference categories, right? Who's petitioning for who? The chargeability area would be helpful, and then the priority date. So 3 things I need in order to make these estimates. But if you are in immediate relative category, then your immigrant visa is definitely already available. You're just waiting for the interview to be scheduled. Now, unfortunately, let's say, because if you're in immediate relative category, your interview already has been scheduled. Let me correct this. It has already been scheduled if you're in immediate relative category. You're just waiting for them to send you the notice of the date when the interview is scheduled for. But they can't send you that notice earlier than 30 days before the interview was scheduled, because they have to give you 30 days by whatever law they have to do the medical examination. So let's say if your interview was scheduled for September 1st, 2023, they cannot schedule. They cannot send you the notice of the interview earlier than August 2023. They have to give you 30 days so that you do the medical examination within 30 days. So what you can do if you are in immediate relative category, you can find your embassy, U.S. Embassy, on this website right here, usembassy.gov. I'll put it in my response. Find the country where you're from, find the embassy, give them a call and say, hey guys, I'm in immediate relative category. I was already documentarily qualified. I've been waiting for over 8 months now for an interview, and it's still, I didn't get the notice of when it was scheduled for. Can you please give me the information when it was scheduled? Most of the times they say, no, we can't give you that information, but I know cases, I know people that have called and somebody on the phone, they were nice in the embassy and they looked in the system and they told them when the interview will be scheduled. You still cannot go and do the medical examination, obviously. Knowing that your interview was scheduled, you have to do it within 30 days. So after you receive the official notice only, you can do the medical examination. But for the peace of mind, you know, it is nice to know when it was scheduled for. Alrighty, let's move on to the next question. Comment from Diane Spencer, Mauricette 121. I have a USCIS approved number from 2015. How much longer do I have to wait to get response from NVC? It was filed in Texas. My father, who is a US citizen, filed for me. I am married. Okay, so it is US citizen filing for a married son or daughter, so that would be F3 category. So let's take a look, and we know the priority date is from 2015. So let's take a look at the visa bulletin. So we got F3, which is married sons and daughters of US citizens. So right now, so the total, I'm going to look at the graph A to give you the whole thing first. How long you will be waiting for the availability of the immigrant visa. So as of right now, as of June 15, 2023, the priority date, people with the priority date that have their visas, their immigrant visas becoming available for them, they're reaching the end of that backlog, is in December 2008. December 2008, well, 22nd December 8, so early January 2009. So that is roughly 2009, and you are in 2015. So you're roughly looking at another 6 years for the availability of the immigrant visa. But let's take a look now at when the NVC portal will fully open up for you so that you can become documentarily qualified. So we're going to look at the graph B now, and F3 category, and it is showing 1st March 2010. That is the priority date. That's people with the priority date in March 2010. Their portals opening up as of right now, June, July 2023. So March 2010, and you're in 2015. So you're, depending on which month you're in 2015, you're roughly looking at another 5 years, somewhere around 5 years, for the NVC portal to become fully open, so that you can start your documentarily qualification process. And as you can see, they open up the NVC portal to become documentarily qualified very close, well, about a year away from the availability of the immigrant visa. They plan it intentionally so that once you're documentarily qualified, closer to the availability of the immigrant visa, then they schedule the interview. All the documents from documentary qualification are fresh that you take to the interview, and you know, it's one after the other. So there's still a little bit more waiting that needs to happen, unfortunately. And you know, I can personally relate because I do have a petition that I will be waiting for another 13 years to become current for any movement. So when I say, you know, there's a little bit more waiting, you know, being patient and stuff like this, I can personally relate. I'm not just saying as someone, oh, just be patient and that's it. But that's just the way it is, unfortunately. The system is not very good. It's pretty broken. It's really broken, I would say. But that's just part of the deal. That's just part of what we have to deal with. So let me put this, and we're going to move on to the next question comment from Desireen Trowers, 4799. I am the US citizen. I am petitioning for my unmarried daughter since 2015. Still can't get a visa date. I-130. Can someone give me some answers? She's the only one that left in my country. It's so hard for the family. Desireen, I'm very sorry that you're dealing with this. So she's unmarried. She's over 21, obviously F1 category, because you're waiting since 2015. Because children of U.S. citizens under 21, they don't have to wait. It's immediate relative category. So waiting since 2015. Visa bulletin right now is on December 2014. So roughly you have, depending on which month in 2015, and which category. I'm assuming you're in all chargeability area, but depending on which chargeability area, if there's Philippines, there's Mexico, there's India. India and China are the same as all chargeability, but Mexico and Philippines, they take longer. But most of us are in all chargeability area. You're roughly looking at another year for the availability of the immigrant visa, roughly, depending on which months you're in. But let me know which month and which chargeability area, and I might be able to give you a little bit better, still very rough estimates, but a little bit more information. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Munya Marigir 3906. Can't read the name now because YouTube ruined it for me. Sorry about that, guys. Thank you for answering my question. Just a follow-up question. My category is F2B, and I've noticed that it hasn't moved in over a year. I'm guessing the wait will probably be over 6 to 7 of waiting, I guess months of waiting, since there's a huge backlog, and my priority date is only of the 18th of March 2018. Okay, let's take a look. F2B, I think it was somewhere around 20, so it is September 2015 right now. So September 2015, your category is F2B, moved in over a year. I'm guessing the wait will be over 6, since there's a huge, probably 6 to 7 years maybe. No. March 2018, and it is 2015 September. No, so you're looking at another 3 years roughly for the availability of the immigrant visa. And then for the chargeability, and not the chargeability, for the graph B, so sorry, I've been talking for way too long now. For the graph B, for the NDC portal to fully open up to become documentarily qualified, there you're looking at about, let's see, March 2018, and this is January 2017. You're looking at about a year and 2 months. A year and 2 months for the NDC portal to fully open, so that you can start your documentary qualification process. All right, let me put this, and we're gonna move on to the next question. Looks like 3 of them from on the same video, from Sagar Patel 2889. As of July 2023, visa bulletin priority date in F1 moved 8 months, and 1st September 2017 was current. For date of filing chart, my F2B priority date was November 2017. Would you suggest to convert my category from F2B to F1 after my parents become US citizen? I told my parents just to start process of citizenship. Okay, so Sagar, you definitely gave your parents great advice. Yes, absolutely, and I would recommend it to anyone. If you're a permanent resident, and if you have been a permanent resident for 5 years, start your naturalization process. Yes, it costs money. Yes, you have to do the interview. You have to, fill out the application. Yes, there is some annoying stuff that is involved. But you've been through so long already. Just solidify your status in this country. And US citizen is, naturalized US citizen is that final point where you're done. You're finally done. That's it. Nobody can take that away from you, all right? So definitely great advice. Now, regarding switching from F2B to F1, that is excellent question. It really is a gamble as of right now, because there were some situations where people switched from F2B to F1 and F1 took longer. As of right now, if you look at the visa bulletin, as of right now, F1 is actually taking longer than the F2B. So as of right now, it's not such a good idea to do that. But again, in the next few months, things might change. And really, F1 and F2B, it's really like head to head. Technically, F1 is supposed to be better than F2B. And why? Because it's better? Because it's first preference category. It makes sense, right? First preference category, it should be better than F2B. But, as you can see, as of right now, it is not. It's not the case. So, By the time your parents become naturalized U.S. citizens, I think it will be a better kind of a judging point, because you will be able to see whether now F2B is better or F1 is better. And if F1 is better, then yes, absolutely, switch it to F1. As of right now, F2B is better. So for everyone who is in F2B, honestly, I would recommend staying in F2B. But again, it is a gamble, because in the next few months, things can change pretty quickly. And we have seen some of the very rapid, very drastic changes in July 2023 Visa Bulletin. If you haven't seen the video on July 2023 Visa Bulletin that I posted on this channel, check it out, because there are some major changes in there for some of the categories. So yeah, just wait until they are naturalized, until they're naturalized U.S. citizens, and then come back to the U.S. Visa Bulletin and take a look at it. And if it's beneficial to switch, then definitely do the switch. But you will receive, once they're naturalized, you will receive from NVC, most likely. Usually they do send it themselves, because they see the update in status. They send you an option to switch it from F2B to F1. So thank you everyone for asking your questions today. That will be it for today. I'll continue with the rest of the questions in tomorrow's video. Thank you very much for your time, and for everyone who's watching this video. If you have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate. Just make sure to submit it as a separate comment. Thanks again for watching. God bless, and I'll see you all in the next video.